Thank you for joining today. This is the first Mozhan Training program to share with you the knowledge that was shared with Mr. Cash to us a couple of years ago, and there will be 4 Mozhans in total. We will start with me today, and there will be also Stefania, most likely joining us a bit later to join the bigger community of the brother and sister principle. As we started with the video, in the beginning I tried to put as much knowledge into that video so that we basically can experience on an emotional level the image that we see. So let me see if I can share that with you right now again. Now the sound will not be there, but we don't need to have the sound in the beginning. So as we know, the Mozhan program is part of the space program of the Keshe Spaceship Institute, and therefore we basically need to get comfortable with what it means to be in space. And so in this introduction video now, this is just a part of it. We basically can get familiar with how it would be when we are basically have nothing. So flying through whatever it is, what we call space, there is total darkness or black, and there is light in forms and shapes, but it's pretty much empty as much as we can consider it. So is it really empty or is it full of life? This question is a question that is really accompanying us for, I don't know, maybe 100 years now. So we deny everything that is called a UFO or a flying saucer or an alien or an extraterrestrial being. And yet, what if we can basically join them so that they can join us? And yet, if they have this opportunity to travel among the stars, we should basically get comfortable with let everything behind. So maybe you can write that down if you go back and watch the video again at a later time. Try to basically let the life that you have or that you had so far behind you. It means we detach from all the emotions to primarily the matter state, but also the emotional state in terms of relationships, experiences, joy. The whole spectrum of the emotion basically has to be behind us, and so we have to become detached to achieve the freedom to go anywhere. So in the soul teaching, we basically are just the light, and there is no matter attached, and yet in the light there is contained everything that there needs to be known at a certain point of destination, of remanifestation or redeployment, as you, the one that likes to experience himself in a different way or angle, or even in a different setting. Now everybody should be back, I guess. So either we go to space or we come from space. And there are many stories and even cultures that believe that we are not originated here on the planet. So imagine now you basically are about to incarnate when you see, especially this view here, which is a cleaner shot than in the video you saw. So imagine what it means after you let go of everything. Now you're basically approaching everything that you might have possibly known because you didn't forget it in the totality, you still have it with you. So when you basically dive now here into life on Earth, ask yourself, what does it mean? Where would you like to connect? Because you are now not connected yet, but as soon as you basically are in the flesh or in the matter state, you're also visible, touchable, and tangible for the time and space on the planet. And then we are here, and the perspective to basically go somewhere else we need one tool, and that tool will be this one. I want you to look very closely to basically what you can see. This reflection of the outside in the inside or vice versa is basically the principle of the mirror. And so if you imagine a spherical bubble or a ball that can be like a mirror, so it reflects everything, but there is also one way to basically integrate everything and spread out again to the exterior. So basically we have an exchange, and therefore we're also traveling basically through space literally. So I will go a bit further or faster now in this e-video to basically bring you to the point where the teachings from Mr. Kesh start basically with the environment. And so through a certain coherence with the totality, there is the allowance of creation that comes from the field. So basically you fill yourself up from the inside. If you imagine this here to be a black hole, you basically integrate it, and on the other exit you basically create out. And so there are people that remember their past lives, that they have connections throughout the material world. And if we want to go and look a bit closer right here, I can't say that I looked for that. It just happened to become what I wanted actually to find or catch, in the sense of, let me just arrive there in just a second. in that moment I was aware that this shows me basically how the planet can replicate itself. And then we are actually with the Mozhan teaching and the non-physical or maybe not tangible way of traveling through space and how you basically treat the environment. And so through all the years after the teachings directly from Kesh, there was no coincidence to basically discover that, you know, we are the children of the earth in one way, but this goes way more deeper as well. But how can we at least start with thinking about how we can become a planet in our next? There is no incarnation if you want to become a planet, but you know, maybe we have to find a new terminology to basically how you can manifest yourself as a planet or, you know, a sun directly. So the potential of the limitless is just a little bit more open through all the teachings that Kesh is sharing with us over a very long time by today. And so for me it was not always just pleasure or joy to basically understand and apply sooner or later the knowledge into the personal or in the matter human life. And so there were a couple of visions and basically dreams that let me basically build up a setting. The best word to describe it is something like a sandbox that helps you basically find yourself. I see that as a basic principle to start, because when we know basically where we can start in the beginning, then we have some sort of orientation or at least a point to start with. So let me see if I can go a bit later into that. So we will talk about sandbox and everything that you can basically remember from your childhood if you ever had the joy to play in a sandbox, or even as a grown-up in a construction setting that basically lets you build and enjoy the creational feeling at a daily basis. So we're going to understand how we can basically build or rebuild ourselves, or how we can basically discover ourselves in the mirror of the creation that is basically all around us. Yet there is something more urgent to basically talk about, and there is also something that might happen to a lot of you, that if you have all the knowledge and every week there is more of it, it's a question of how you digest all that information. And if there is not that short part also of the clip that is basically very grounded and not really from space, I'm talking about this train that we have seen in the video as well. There are so many wheels, there's so much human in this symbol of the train, and yet there is also, as you can see, the different colors. There is energy, there is a direction, and there is basically like a chain collaboration or a chain reaction. And if not, this is something that you're very familiar with, and every day when you try to focus yourself on something specific, there is something coming to your mind, something into your brain that basically keeps you away from doing what you wanted to do. These distractions we all know as thoughts, and those thoughts are basically one way of how I will teach you how you can handle your thoughts in a different way, that you are not the slave anymore of your thoughts, but you basically become like an architect of your thoughts, when you basically have a deeper understanding of how to handle the situation when the train is coming. As you can see, the train is literally going through that sandbox that we will discover right in the next, as you saw that already in the intro video as well. So for me to basically keep living, I needed to put all the knowledge in ways of, I can't tell you, it just needs to be more than, you know, like books or videos. I need to have a way of how I can basically, as I said, digest or integrate these perspectives and all that knowledge to basically help me or let me change in the way that I wish to achieve. So my intention here was basically to give you an orientation, and this orientation is very much based as well on a very old way of the computer games, that you basically start from left and then you go through the level to the right. So basically, just to make it a bit more easy to see, if I can see, can I comment on that? No. So basically here on the left side, everything that is blue is the water, so that's the sea. Then here we have the land beginning, and we will have to discover many landscapes with different environments and different opportunities in itself. And so basically the game setting or the sandbox is from the water to the land to the mountain, and there is also, of course, the bigger picture above the material state. So we have all the gaseous and the plasma states and the soul state that is through what connected into our human life. And in the beginning, when we are actually overloaded or overwhelmed by too much, and usually knowledge can also transform into emotions, and if you can't handle basically either your emotions or your knowledge, it can turn out pretty wild. So the ocean stands for the emotional state or the emotion itself, and so we also see the reflection of the water. So the ocean basically is just the blue, or what seems to be blue, reflection of the man, which is the red reflection of the blue, and vice versa. So basically we will start this game on an individual basis and also in a collective together. So there are two ways to enter this game to discover, and one will be from the top. So today we try to give you an overview, and we will see to basically look from the top and see what we can experience from a overview perspective. So everything that is related to the element water, to everything livelihood or you know, behaviors and reflections in many ways we are going through many ways of the elementary system in the matter way, but also there is the non-matter way, at least at everything that is above ground here. And so basically you can see in the top right corner here this little light in the clouds. This is basically the game setting. So here you can go to the next level. So that's what's the point of a level or of this map basically is. And yet this is just 1 degree of a 360-degree spectrum that you are going to build the way you basically understand yourself. and you basically are able, after a couple of hours, I guess, to build your own map and to create your inner world that is so much needed, basically, and there is a lot of responsibility coming your way when we basically come to the Mozhan program, because we all will see some perspectives and points of view the same way, and this is not going through the visual sense, but mostly through the heart and through the action we take to basically share the knowledge and to bring the mankind to peace. So we will be able to enter this landscape or this sandbox from the top, and this is a little bit different than any other game. So you will fall here basically when you fall in a dream state. So when you have a dream where you basically lose ground or whatever happens that you are falling, try to remember where you land. And basically, if you don't remember the landscape, there is also the participation that I would like to share with you. So the animal kingdom agreed to basically help us understand where we are in life. So when you drop here in your dream somewhere, either you drop into water or into a wood or somewhere on the mountain, whatever, maybe there is an animal that you will see, or maybe you fly with some animals. So in case you will basically contact or make contact with an animal in your dream, I will be able to put you here somewhere on the map. And then it's about you to decide if you go left or right, up or down. So in this way of setting, I try to integrate all the necessary aspects. So this round shape in the center here is basically like a portal, or it's like a mirror. There are many ways to see things different, but yet this is this shape in the center. So the transformation we are basically all going through is the main focus here, to basically let the stuff behind you that keeps you from being what you are basically meant to be or to enjoy. And this is part of the Mozhan program, to basically be joyful when you feel the others, as you can feel the joy that you feel also in the other one. So we have to become joyful to ourselves in every single moment, and then we also will have no issue to be joyful with the environment, and therefore we will have the peace on both sides, in the inside as well in the outside. So before I can make you dream from any animal, there is the casual way of going through a level or a state, or basically this map in that 1 degree. So when I talk about 1 degree, I mean we basically have a 2D perspective here on this map, from left to right. There are cultures that basically go from right to left. It can happen that you drop here. We will find that out in the later time frame. So yet basically we will go together in a very casual way from the left to the right, and here we will see that we are part of a bigger ship, of a boat, and we will be what is called planked. So basically we will be thrown out into the ocean. Okay, so we can't see the mouse. Okay, let me see if I can do that. Okay, there's much to learn still. So basically, on the left side, everything in the blue color is the ground, or the sea, the ocean, and we will be thrown out from the ship into the deep of the ocean, basically. And so we will see to get acquainted with different states of situation to basically access our emotions. So before we don't know how basically or how we work with our emotions as one, there is always at least collateral damage for you or for someone else. And so basically to find yourself in the first place, go deeper and basically get in connection with your soul, and then basically also apply that this way inside can basically redeployed or can be different in the new way of you, how you see the world, and therefore comes the change that you basically need to experience by yourself. So there is no telling or no showing. The benefit or the state of being that you can become is really depending just on you, and so nobody's going to force you but yourself. And I try to give you here a playful introduction into the knowledge that basically made my world anew, and I'm pretty sure that Stefania will have also parts to share with us where the world completely changed after the Mozhan introduction that we had with Mr. Kesh. So we always will have this interruption of the train, and we basically calculated that, and so we will go most likely maybe already today or at least next time how we can basically handle the situation with your thoughts and create them basically again from anew or from scratch. When we go back on the map, I would like to just inspire you to I will see if I can show you here how we would like to find you basically on the map. That will look like this, more or less. So we will find common ground to discover ourselves, and through the exchange of perspectives and actually application of the knowledge, we can gently push each other into the best way of experience. So you see now we talked about, I think last week or the 2 weeks before, about the telescope. So the telescope lets you focus and it isolates you from everything else. And yet the telescope is just a concept, like a filter or a layer, and it can be comprehended as such as well. We will discover as well the topic of communication. I was showing that in the beginning, a couple of weeks ago, in the One Planet, One Race meeting. Yet nobody asked me anything about it, so I will just say today that much. So we have to basically make you endure change in any state. You need to understand yourself as a collective or a collection of many ones, and you need to basically lead them as one. And so between the one on the top or the unification of the many, and the many states between of separation. We will go in many examples into this, how I call it in the Latin name, lingua internam, which means it's the language that goes into yourself. So basically we will try to first understand and then apply the knowledge of how you basically can make yourself to a cloud or to a field state, and then go back into the manifestation of the matter and basically go back and forth. So that kind of communication is a language that is basically not shared. It's just one that is an internal, how I call it, an internal loop. So basically that you can create inside of yourself, and you know basically with confidence that everything is still in that way you would like to have it, even you're fractured or in parts. So after the communication way or the loop situation, I will show you now the Sandman, or how basically, and that's a little bit of me here. So we were talking about a couple of exercises in the last couple of weeks. So there will be a practical part in any teaching, maybe except for today. We will see how it goes. So all the knowledge and all the love spoken in words, you know, they are, if they don't land basically in your heart, there is no resonance, and it's not the emotion that is created from the source. So through the exercises, basically we want to bring you back from the stasis, from the state of pieces, that you are in pieces, to come together, or vice versa. So again, from the one to many, and from the many back to one. So the Sandman basically here as an example is that you let yourself completely go in through the mental and emotional creation of you as a sandman. So all the particles that are behind you taking part of you, and so basically you're melting with the, how you say, the majority of what is. So if everything will be sand in the universe, you can become the part of the universe when you also join the sand state. So through the physical experience, we at least scratch or irritate the emotional state, and when we do that, we sooner or later also go further into reaching the soul, and the more pleasure or joy you actually enjoy through that reflection from the outside, or how you treat yourself towards the inside, you will see how much more open doors you can basically meet in your life, and also create them at will, as we saw the portal before. There was a long time that I was asking myself, why me? Why should I be the luckiest guy to basically become just one of four to go to the Mozhan? And it took me quite some time to understand, and yet it is too early to completely share with you those insights, and yet it's very much said already when, when you can understand that everyone, or basically the other one in the state of a you, is basically the reflection of yourself. And so if we can basically share this emotion, this soul state that we basically were collected all over the place and thrown in one place, and we can achieve that feeling and also that confidential trust in each other, even we don't really know each other, is that sort of comfort that we can share from the soul level. So if basically the soul is shining through, it could look like very much like this. So you're overflowing, you as an existence, you're basically wasting your creation to the benefit of the surrounding. If you have ever noticed, I haven't seen a bird that is actually wasting food. So if something drops somewhere, that's also fine, because there will be someone else to pick it up from there, and maybe we'll also be grateful to have that drop of spoiling or whatever kind of food that basically comes. So if when you are not too shy anymore to basically go beyond the matter level, you don't need to speak anymore. But yet you need to know yourself that basically you can be still in balance with the life, because when you see that you don't need that much as in the former or the life so far, it's very much to change, and the horizon goes very much more into the stars and not much more into the materialistic way of life. And if everything goes well, maybe this is a way of it could look like. So after integration of the reflection of the totality, you can replicate the creation of the totality in a fractalized individual sense. Let me rephrase that. Imagine you are the color white and you want to go through the black color, so you don't want to make it gray anywhere, so you don't want to leave any traces. So the only way to go as a white through the black, you need to get to know the other. So the white needs to know how black works. Then it needs to basically camouflage or hide itself in the black. So basically the white needs to paint itself, and yet to see that it doesn't change itself to another state like gray or another color, but basically it needs to close itself in the color of black, and then it's freely to contain again the white, because it is not spreading it by passing through the black. And so this is much likely the easiest way to rephrase how the soul can travel. So yeah, that's that. So I would like to go back to the map as a starting point. Let's say it's like a meeting ground for at least my part of the teachings. So basically that I can pick you up, or basically I can feel with you where you actually are. And first we basically need to know, do you know where you are? You know, so do you see yourself in the big picture, or basically you have no clue where you have to go or what you want to achieve? Is there a place where you call your own, or is it basically just everything is for rent? So can you basically go back somewhere where you can stay and you are basically in peace and a state of, you know, that you're not irritated from the outside? So do you have like a recluse, or like yeah, like a house where you basically feel at home? So do you have this feeling, and when you have this feeling that you can repeat every day, you can bring it out and share with others? So how can we bring that in any way, in any place here on the map? When you're here and you're drowning, when you're here maybe without any water in somewhere in the desert. So how basically can you survive anything that is somewhere or sooner or later related to fear? And this is basically this duality that we have here in the very background. So the first left part, that is a bit darker, that goes into the portal, that is basically the night state. And the right part, that is a little more white, that is the state of the day. So we will have, when we think back of the language that goes internal, we have the day and night cycle, and we will have many ways of approaching the duality, not as the main focus here, but just as a part of the way how we basically create ourselves. So coming back to, again, when the... now Stefania. Hello, Stefania. So we are now the two of the Mozhans here. I remember very well, so coming from basically, again, the map here, there is this image, and some of you have seen it also here in the Zoom. So that red picture, that is a painting that happened in the GANS process. So I was burning the copper, and I was falling in love basically with the melting of the energies and my emotions going through it. And you know, after mirroring that as just a half of it, there was that face coming out, and it looked very much like a space helmet. And so that was coincidentally once, I think once on a Thursday when the teachings, or I was listening to any teaching, and so Mr. Cash asked, or he said that so we could become a medicine man of space. And so I would like to share with you in a gentle way that I was fortunate to basically become part of the Indian nation. So as a medicine man, this is the mirrored image of myself, and from the knowledge of the mirror, which is basically the name of me as a medicine man, Orim the Red, which means the mirrored. So I am the reflection of you. And so this is part of my life, with or without the Cash Foundation. And yet I actually know today much more how or maybe why I was allowed to join the Mozhan program. And yet it took me quite some time to also becoming more confident in the understanding to share again. And today I know very well that the sharing is at least 50% of the 100% when you start teaching yourself or when you seek the knowledge. So we all will come with sooner or later progress into the responsibility to not only forcefully give, but more likely to enjoy and share how you enjoy life and how you basically are able to do much, much more with your experience or with your existence, basically, that we know from other ways from. So there is also Caroline. Caroline, hello Stefania. Hello together. Nice for you to join us. We have Tigai and yeah, quite some people now here. Very nice. Thank you for coming. We just went through basically most of the overview. There will be maybe time for now give Stefania the time to arrive as well. So Stefania, would you like to say hello to us?
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Stefania.
Nice to be here. Thanks for the invitation. Sorry if I'm late, just overlap with the Universal Council supporter. And then we got a testimonial today at 8 o'clock that, do you remember, Rick asked us if we can join with them somehow?
Yes, we will try to migrate with the gang over to the other meeting if we can. Yes. I mean, if for everyone who has time. So so you mean 8 o'clock is like in 15 minutes, or is it at 9 o'clock? So it's in 1 hour 50.
I think. Correct me, is it 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock? I think it's 8 o'clock city time. Or maybe, no, maybe, sorry, maybe UK time. I'm now confused. Is anyone here knows what time the testimonial is?
Normally 8 o'clock, but it's the second Monday every month.
Okay, so it's not
today
today.
testimonial. No, it's the second Monday every month.
Okay, yeah, you're right then. So you're right, second Monday. So not today. Sorry, okay. Apologize for the confusion.
Is there anything right now that you would like to share with us, maybe from your UC meeting, that maybe some good news or whatever?
In the UC, we just talked about as usual, strengthen our communication between from the knowledge seeker to the Universal Council and vice versa, from the Universal Council, the core team and the Universal Council supporter. Strengthen all this connection between us to make the best of what we can at the physical level. So by being more active with the doing, and also at the soul level. So tomorrow we're going to talk again about the power of the fields, because that is our strength. So we're going to again talk about the replication cap. So we talked this is the summary of what we said. So to really activate the Earth Council, Universal Council supporter, and knowledge seeker, and to really connect, improve the connection even better than they are now, so we can deliver our best. Really focus on this one city, one center. So because each one of us has got some every different languages, so every different person has got different strength. So if we can get the strength of everyone together, we definitely we are more strong and we can achieve more. This is the summary. I don't know if anyone who was present wanted to say add something. Yeah, I read just the question of Dan. He said if the testimony. Okay, no, the other. If the donation has been reached, I don't know, but I did make a wish, and that is something that we can use our strength. Where at the soul level, we make this wish of reach the donation target. I don't know personally if it has been reached. We did make the wish the same day, and I think that is also our strength. If all collectively we activate the people to make this target achieved. I don't know if it's been achieved. I don't know if anyone here knows.
I'm pretty sure we will hear from Mr. Cash an update on Thursday, most likely. So, yeah. I think you have just named one of my keywords for today. Let me show you. If you haven't seen it yet, these are starlings, and it's just so beautiful to see.
That's
how
a bird.
collaboration
That looked like a bird.
can create beauty in the eye of the observer. So there's even one moment here, as you can see, they are creating a big bird together. And so how could one of these small birds inside of the big bird know if he's at the right place, you know? So this, oops, that was not. So here, how do they organize? They actually don't really talk to each other. I mean,
That's a
there were
bird.
just too many
That looked like a
too many
bird.
talking heads. So there must be a way of some emotion involved that leads to the collaboration as well as to the understanding. How do they meet? Do they have a Zoom room, you know, where they do like
That's a bird.
formations up front and then
That looked like a
say
bird.
now we go outside and practice, and if everyone or if someone is watching us, you know, we don't have to be ashamed because we did it well? Or do they do it for fun? Or what's going on here? Why? And yet if we imagine ourselves as a human to somehow work together with so many other humans in a dynamic and
That's a bird.
obviously
That looked like a bird.
yeah, majestic state of creation, it's maybe a way to understand how we can perceive ourselves as a field or an energy in motion and use it for the greater good. So how can you basically
That's a bird.
understand yourself as a
That
swarm
looked like a bird.
or like a collection. And I think I remember very well how Kesh is calling the double people, the dual people, the beautiful people. And I think when we can understand what is said, that you basically have two options, and it's not a problem of having more than one. It's just a way of how you work together as
That's a
two,
bird.
and not just as have the
That looked like a
regular
bird.
ones. So we're all coming from the same source, so we have the same potential, and so why we are not there yet. We all have shared questions and shared answers. And yet if you imagine to basically take and
That's a
hold
bird.
for a moment the position
That looked like a bird.
of a mirror, so basically you let the people look inside of you, or you show them what you would like to reflect. It's much, or most of it is basically letting or allowing the other one to show them into yourself, or in yourself more precisely. So what does it mean? Let the other
Espérame a
one
ver.
show himself
Sí, 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 ahora sí.
in
That
yourself.
looked like a bird.
Ahora sí, listo.
So someone is new here. Hello.
Sí, sí, mejor, mejor.
Hello.
Hello, sorry.
No problem. Who is this? I don't see the. Alex, is that you? Okay. Okay, coming back basically to the human state, we are going to be introduced into the ways of how other life is doing it, or how they make it themselves, how they create. There are animals that basically can regrow parts of themselves. There are other animals that are able to sustain very dangerous environments on a very ease way. So we have so much to basically discover, not through invasion, but more likely through observation of all there is. And so there's a way to look outside into the stars, but there is also a way to basically see or discover, as you again look outside, it's basically looking inwards as well. And so everyone is capable to go the way inwards, much more likely than going to the moon or to the Mars from a totally casual point of view, not knowing about any ways of space travel. So we also will find the point of, or the 0 point. So we have to become familiar with the situation where everything happens at the same time, and you can't basically hold on anything because you're meant to basically let it, as long as you hold yourself, you wreck yourself. So through the letting go process, it's such a wear out terminology, but we have to basically leave behind some old concepts, and it's in one way or another it's also forgetting those things that basically hold ourselves from being in that moment of joy and of love that we are all made of. So depending on where you find yourself on the map or in life, things might look very different, and so we will try to basically put you in a position where you can have a clear view, or at least if you can make it to the top of the mountain, you will have that overview that is also part of some insight and knowledge from the animal kingdom. So for the next couple of minutes, I would like you to basically, you can also close your eyes if you like. I would like to share with you the message or the insights from the eagle. The eagle is basically that bird that is in so many ways the symbol of the soul or of the spirit in the Native American culture. And so let these works sink in for a bit and see if it maybe tells you something from your actual real life. Eagle, fly high, touch Great Spirit. Share your medicine, touch me and honor me, so that I may know you too. Eagle medicine is the power of the Great Spirit, the connection to the divine. It is the ability to live in the realm of spirit and yet remain connected and balanced within the realm of earth. Eagle soars and is quick to observe expansiveness within the overall pattern of life. From the heights of the clouds, eagle is close to the heavens, where the Great Spirit dwells. The feathers of eagle are considered to be the most sacred of healing tools. They have been used for centuries by shamans to cleanse the auras of patients coming to them for healing. Within the belief system of Native American tribes, eagle represents a state of grace achieved through hard work, understanding, and the completion of the tests of initiation, which results in the taking of one's personal power. It is only through the trial of experience, the lows in life, as well as the highs, and through the trial of trusting one's connection to the Great Spirit, that the right to use the essence of eagle medicine is earned. We have pulled this symbol today, so eagle is reminding you to take heart and gather your courage, for the universe is presenting you with an opportunity to soar above the mundane levels of your life. The power of recognizing this opportunity may come in the form of a spiritual test. In being astute, you may recognize the places within your soul, personality, emotions, or psyche that needs bolstering or refinement. By looking at the overall tapestry, eagle teaches you to broaden your sense of self beyond the horizon of what is presently visible. In learning to fiercely attack your personal fear of the unknown, the wings of your soul will be supported by the ever-present breezes, which are the breath of the Great Spirit. Feed your body, but more importantly, feed your soul. Within the realm of Mother Earth and Father Sky, the dance that leads to flight involves the conquering of fear and the willingness to join in the adventure that you are co-creating with the divine. If eagle has majestically soared today, you are being put on notice to reconnect with the element of air. Air is of the mental plane, and in this instance it is of the higher mind. Wisdom comes in many strange and curious forms and is always related to the creative force of the Great Spirit. If you have been walking in the shadows of former realities, eagle brings illumination. Eagle teaches you to look higher and to touch Grandfather Sun with your heart, to love the shadow as well as the light. See the beauty in both, and you will take flight like the eagle. Eagle medicine is the gift we give ourselves to remind us of the freedom of the skies. Eagle asks you to give yourself permission to legalize freedom and to follow the joy your heart desires. This is the kind message of the eagle, and there's a little bit more that is for those basically who have still some fear left for the eagle. So if eagle is reversed in your understanding, you have forgotten the power and connectedness to the Great Spirit. You may have failed to recognize the light that is always available for those who seek illumination. Heal your broken wings with love. Loving yourself as you are loved by the Great Spirit is the lesson which is the contrary eagle. On some level, eagle is telling you to seek higher ground on which to build your nest. The nest is the home of the heart and cannot remain in a swamp. If your nest is in a swamp, this may be connected to your belief that your wings are clipped by an impossibility in your present status. Eagle's nest is high in the mountains, where the air is clean and the movement free. It may be your time for a vision quest, so that you can commune with the Great Spirit. Fasting and praying will surely bring an answer. Seek lofty ideals, and illumination will be close at hand. This is the message of the eagle, and I hope you liked the information and the views that the animal kingdom can contribute to our existence when we dare to watch through their eyes for just a second or an instant. Because we all know time is another concept. Time will be our basically daily driver, and yet there will be different ways to experience time and space, as we all have experienced most likely that 1 minute can go like an hour, or 1 minute can go like 5 seconds. So basically, how to get yourself a clearer view, a new perspective or a brighter perspective, and that connection basically that you can feel yourself as a totality. This is again the goal we basically seek again to also rediscover amongst the animals. So maybe we can just go back again to the go through, how we call it, to the walk through. So we will try to go, if possible, every week, once through that level in a certain way of viewing things. And if someone basically can find him or herself somewhere here on the map, or in another clear way to articulate and share with us, we basically will try to elevate in every way of possibility, and yet we will try to remain in the center point of view from the soul and try to avoid as much as we can. It's not avoiding, but we basically will focus on understanding and the connection through the emotion of the soul and the matter state, so that you can become a more joyful and responsible driver of your own for the daily life. So we will start there, so when we can basically achieve or complete the mission here in this setting, it will be you who will make the cake. So if you imagine again this as a slice of 1 degree, if you turn that around in a 360 degree, you will have 359 different angles. And with this tool of this map, I hope we can give you an orientation, so where we basically can find each other on the same background, on the same turf, on the same environment. So we basically have the co-creation that we wish in front of our eyes. We also will have to deal with the idea of a problem. So when you go to space, there is no time basically for you to think about something that is not working, because again we have many layers of coloring the understanding of basically what we are part of, and so to lift those veils, it will be necessary to go to different states, even if it's just laying at the beach and going through the Sandman experience, or if you sit together with other people and do some group practices. Also, Stefania will have a lot of insights to share with us, especially in the connection of the emotion and the mental state as a causal reaction to the matter state. So we will have many tools to approach a situation, and yet I will like to show you in very short time how we can basically deal the burden of decision making, or as we saw before, the train and the thoughts, basically those distractions that keep our mind out of focus. And so we need a clear mind to basically have a stable intention, and so we need to basically cleanse or get rid of ourselves. And if we go back again and have just a vision of the space, or even if we both mix together, we are going to merge parts in you or in yourself that might be in conflict, but there are ways that you basically can resolve those conflicts within you, and when they are resolved, the problem is also gone. And yet if we understand the concept of the black hole, so where everything happens at the same time, then there is no excuse that if there is a question, the answer lies just right next to it, most likely, or somewhere very, very near. So we will have to also be happy in the state of not thinking, so nothing is going on, or basically nothing is irritating you and there is nothing to do. So it's much of a relaxing the status quo, because we are just usually just doing too much, either in the material state or in the mental state, and somewhere in between the emotions are that thing that can become visible to the environment or to yourself and can lock you up in a loop. So basically breaking those loops that hold you or keep you attached to a certain way of living, or even if it's just thinking or reflecting the feeling of a certain situation over and over again, we need to let those loops basically go and find basically the power within to recreate every single second us and basically you and your experience anew. And so there is never the moment of too late. There is basically no time and no space on one hand, and there is space and time what we have here in this physical body. And so we try to at least shake hands with the other side of the existence to discover earlier than necessary, or maybe just at the right time, what we all are looking for. And the world needs a lot of love and the final completion of the peace, so we can basically way more detach ourselves and expand into a bigger life of experience, of possibilities, and the peace will be the ground to make the world a more coherent place in many ways. So I would like to surprise you a little bit. This is the voice talking to you. I would like to stay in these different colors, and I really love to mix all sort of things together. Basically, the idea here is just to see how it goes if you bring more of the space into your room, if you can let go of all the things that are basically in connection with the visual scene. Can I for 1 second forget everyone I know and still be happy? Not to mention the possible fear of falling somewhere down, because there seems to be no ground anywhere. So how do we basically navigate here? We easily forget. So the ground we're standing on, this idea, you have to replicate it here. Otherwise you will have a different way of experiencing whatever it is to not falling down, basically. And so through the magraphs we have a very deep insight, not only in the physical but also in the way of function. So through the giving and the taking, you have to balance yourself in this empty or in this vast environment of possible creation. So you need to see what fits in, or how you can basically create out of yourself. So between living room, the voice, and going totally into space will certainly confront you the deeper you go into. We use it empathy, basically to feel or try to feel or re-feel someone else's feeling, or to connect just through the soul level to basically re-experiencing or experiencing the same as. So if you can be empathic in space where there is nothing to grab or to get, but just to make by your own, it's a completely different way of living basically, or seeing the horizon. So imagine the concept of the creation is something that you have already integrated, and you are exchanging through giving and receiving in any space or everywhere. So Mr. Kohan is maybe not able to be Kohan at a certain point in space, so it is just 4 different letters. Or is this the basic principle of how things basically not only fit together, but they hold together? And then again we have the question, do you see yourself in the bigger picture? So do you see where you are located? Do you think you're outside of the planet, or are you inside of the creation? Depending on where you basically are in this layer system, you will have a straight approach or just the reversed approach to go. So someone will have to go on the map towards the mountain up. Someone deliberately wants to go to deep dive into the ocean. So the exercises will bring you the opportunities to get acquainted with different environments in the physical state as well in the emotional state. And so the much you can contain, maybe in something like this you can see right now, or something similar or completely different, but it's a comprehension of containment that you basically are allowed to have, because again, as I mentioned the story, the white goes through the black. If you basically contain within the light the material essence, you most likely have all the parts, and then you can just rebuild or recreate whatever you like, if you have some sort of orientation again. So how many legs, how many arms you need? 20 is maybe too much, 5 is maybe just the right one. And yet, in the daily life, we will discover again in any daytime that we have a train, that we have these thoughts coming. And I would like to just spoil a little bit. So if in case of the train is coming from left or right side, you will have to find out if it is something that you receive or something that you give. So we will start with this. So is it basically the train that you built up with something that follows up, or is the train something where you have read or seen or heard of, and it's just disturbing your peace of mind? Why the different colors, or just the two, like the pink and the blue? We will go through different color schemes in the ways of we need to see the body, and yet through the mirror or the memory of to be the mirrored, the reflection of you in every way of experience, this understanding is something that you have to cultivate by your own. So we will basically try to guide you or anyone and maybe we can soon travel all together the stars. Okay, someone might be afraid to fall asleep. It has some hypnotized side effects, what I showed you before. Well, okay, then you can maybe watch it again before you go to sleep. I literally like to invite you to feel what you see here. And if you find out that you might conquer suddenly certain ways of fear, you might know that the time to go to space, to leave the earth, is not the time right. And if it's the other way around, that you can't wait just to drive wherever you would like to go, we basically should check that you're not going to blow a planet off into little pieces. So let's fly together in this way, and maybe we can learn also from the birds in this exact way of meaning. So when we know how they do it, maybe we have overseen something, and that's exactly where we want to basically catch up. So on next Monday, we will basically, as a short teaser, we will be planked on the ship, and then we will face a situation when we are in the deep ocean. So that will be the setting for the first, let's say, game playthrough. So we will see how we can go in many directions from there, and maybe you can pick up something that is helpful to your situation. In the other way around, so I see we have there is at least quite a group already, but we will still like to do this again. So when you dream or in your dream state of a certain animal, and you would like to play the game together, or if you'd like to discover what is basically set up in this sandbox through all my experiences, so we invite you to share with us your dreams. If there is an animal especially, we will have like a feedback from that animal to you if the communication was not so clear. So remember the animal, and you come back and basically find yourself here on the map. If this is something that you can start to get comfortable with, so basically maybe you learn how you can find yourself in any situation, no matter if you have a soil or just empty space. So for the moment, I would like to have a short break. There is no commercial in here, not yet at least. No, there should be no commercial in this session here. I would like to give everyone a break of like, let's say 2-3 minutes, and if you have a question, something like you would like to get more specifically on, or if you have an understanding question, just let me know. I will be right back in just, let's say, 2 minutes. Thank you. Okay, so I am back. Stefania, is there anything you would like to add, or is there already something as a question?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Stefania?
Because I have my headphones. I don't know if it works with speaking. Okay, I am asked, why is this an animal? Is it from the shamans because of the craft animals, or is it from Mr. Cash, or is it your your idea?
So
Can it, yeah.
basically it was like more or less exactly like 2 years before the Mozhan program started, when I was having the initiation to as a medicine man.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they're basically coming from the Native Americans. I'm not calling it shamanism or medicine man or whatever. It's just one color of the spectrum that we, or most of us, have denied. So in the case of, I think you have a dog, a pet. So you have a different perspective on that. So about all people that still eat meat, sometimes I'm doing that too. This is basically not what is, as we know, meant to be, or at least not anymore. So it's a total different approach of where you can learn from. So imagine you have a ET like being, but it's just like 40 centimeters tall. Do you still believe what this existence or this being is sharing with you? Or is it just too small and not in the shape of looking like knowledgeable and, you know?
No, everything. The smallest. But is it like a craft animal? Krafttier?
Yes, they are called spirit
Yeah,
animals,
right.
totem animals. Yes.
Okay, then it's okay. Does it change, or is it mostly the same?
What do you mean? One animal or the animals on the map here?
No, when you dream, when you have a craft animal, or how does it call in English?
Spirit
Krafttier.
animal. So
Spirit,
it's just
yeah,
not,
yeah.
it's not materialistic. Yeah.
Okay, spirit animal, right. I think it can change, or is it always the same you meet in the dream? No, I think it changes sometimes, or
That is really depending on an individual level.
Mhm.
It can be like you have always the same situation, you know, that you find the dog in the dream and he bites you, you know, all the time in the leg or in the arm or whatever. So there is the message of the dog in this situation. So if you have something that is very deep with that animal, it might occur over and over again. On the other way, there is also, you know, that people dream just of other people. And yet, you know, it's the way you look at things. If you remember, if you know someone, then you have certain traits or aspects that might not be uniquely his or hers. But his face looks a little bit like a beaver, you know, or like a hawk. The the nose is like a hawk, you know. So
Yeah.
it is you, but you understand in your life because you created it. So the less doubt you basically let yourself apply to the world, the more beautiful it gets.
It's normally not in my dreams, but in real life, they come to me specialized sometime just butterflies, or sometimes just whatever, snakes or whatever. But I think these are not spiritual animals. Or what do you think?
This is exactly the same. You know,
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
the
Okay.
consciousness basically from if you know if the spirit animal is like a soul that is not in the matter state, and therefore it is not deep attached to time and space, and so in the moment you basically leave the matter state, you get connected to basically the consciousness. It's like you blend in, you know. So you go into a party and then everyone is like, you know, just dancing.
Yeah.
On the street, nobody dances. So you just change basically
Yeah.
the existence in that time frame.
But not in real time, because like I told you, I have sometimes every day butterflies in my room, months long, and then it changes and there come grasshoppers for several weeks, and then whatever. And but it's not in my dream; it's in real time.
Yes, even
And
more beautiful because, you know, how could you deny it then, you know? Otherwise, it's just a dream.
no,
But if
okay,
you have an experience that when you get bitten by a big dog, then it's something that you have a bad experience from. And if you have a good experience, you know, you will maybe like to you get your own dog. You know, it really depends on basically
yeah,
how you approach life. Yeah.
yeah. But it's the special guys is that it's always, yeah, not the normal animals, not dogs or not dogs or whatever. It's, yeah, small animals, the special insects sometimes, always the same. I don't know the name, but sometimes always the special insects come to me week long, and then it changes and something other comes to me. And that, I thought this was spiritual, but now, yeah, okay. That's because I asked you, is it in real time? Has it something to do with my spiritually? Because in dreams, I don't dream about them or whatever. What about animals?
You know, real time is also quite it's a
Sure.
double-edged sword because, you know, real and time
Yeah.
is basically like true false together. I
Yeah.
mean, what is more real? Is it the
Yeah.
dream
Yeah.
or is
Right.
it the reality? So
Yeah. Thanks. Danke. Thanks.
but in many ways, the term of craft, so the created thing, That is basically, imagine something that you are, that you can make yourself, and it's not stable. So it's basically untangible. It's not hard, and it's actually not even gravitating. It's basically floating in relation to the planet, or basically floating in space.
Okay, but they just come to me in my flat and they live here. They don't want to go outside.
Yeah, maybe they are a part of you,
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
or you are part of them. So in the field, it's hard to say which is which and who is who. But you go together.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much.
The interesting thing of insects in many ways is, if you imagine to be as tiny as an insect, everything in relation of your scale or size measuring so far is just a little part of everything. If you would go as an ant through life, it would be total different experience. There is no time for boredom, or it's just get along with it, or get trampled or whatever. So it's total different circumstances. And yet the consciousness in the ant and in you and in an elephant is basically coming from the same source. So how can we dare to deny an ant the life and other beings? So this is what is wrong.
Yeah, it's right. But I always, since a few years, I am thinking of this all spiritually and soul stuff. I really afraid to walk on the ground, because you cannot always look if you are jump on an ant or whatever, huh? And yeah, I'm always thinking about it, but I think it's not possible to don't walk on an ant or something other insect, but I'm always thinking of it, and it I feel a pity.
You think often of the ant?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you have to be patient. The animal ant, or the insect ant, stands for patience. You're too impatient.
Okay, but I just ants because they're on the ground, but other things, I mean, maybe grass, it's a living stuff, but we all walk over grass, and since I'm thinking of it, that they're all living beings, yeah, since then I have I'm always thinking, oh my God, in the ground there are so much insects, grass and whatever, and you are walking on it because you cannot sometimes it happens. Is it impatience too?
You tell me. What are you waiting for?
To fly.
So actually, Danilo just mentioned that he has a connection with birds, and always when he sings or he plays the guitar, they sing with him. So I think this is a very beautiful picture to get familiar with. We have many more neighbors in so many ways, and if we don't see the birds as the bird, or as the other me in the you, how can we even think about hurting a grass leaf, or a stick from a tree? So the more we can basically this empathy, this feel that you let yourself basically accessing through the emotion the other one, and therefore feeling the same is the understanding, because you have basically walked in the other one's shoes. And the more you basically can take these perspectives, also from an animal, it will change totally your perception. Let me share with you this. It was more like an experiencing. It was like 2 years straight. I was feeding these birds. You can see now here. And so in the beginning there was like 4 or 5 of them, and in the end it was like 40 at like one of like 10 centimeters of 1 meter balcony, like a window bar. And so I was feeding them day in, day out, winter, summer, every day. And so I left also the window open, and it took some time, but the longer basically they were eating at my restaurant, and I was feeding them hemp seeds, so they really loved these. They were also expensive a little bit, but they were just going crazy for these. So the more basically we get along or get in touch with each other through not touching, the more curious they become. So I had the window open 24/7, every day in the year, also in the winter. So it started to happen that they come into the room and they woke me up. So they were landing while I was sleeping. So I felt on a morning that there was a bird on my leg.
Cool.
So it went even further. So I was sitting at that table that I'm sitting here right now, and one landed again on my leg, and he was maybe like then half a minute, really very long. He was just with me, and one flew on my shoulder. It's just they show you the trust much easier, and even straight from the heart. Because they don't reach you with words. They just beep, beep all the time in their way. So they must observe you in how you treat them, or how I did in that case.
Okay.
And therefore they got acquainted, and they developed the trust that the environment is safe. And so the connection that gets even deeper. So I think it was the second last or the last day before I left this place, before I moved. I was dreaming in the afternoon. I was just exhausted and sleeping in the afternoon, and so I had the dream of my room was full of these birds, but they were all white, and they were moving their wings like how you call it, the woman that creates the snow, the Frau Holle. I don't know the
Yeah.
English. So it was like feathers everywhere in the room, but it was in the dream state. So they were literally showing their gratitude, and also they wanted to get in touch with me in a different level, to say thank you for what they received through all those days and years.
Yeah, I understand. But the insects on the ground, they had to observe that I'm not, that they are not under my feet, or the grass, or what is the thing with the ground where I cannot take care everything every time?
Look, I think we can take also too serious in many ways. So imagine if you choose to drive an ant as a car, and then before you choose to be an ant, you know that there are also elephants. If we then might come to the idea that's a good place to deploy your manifestation in Africa, where there are a lot of elephants, so the risk is much more high that you get trampled. So maybe you just, you know,
Yeah,
get
okay.
along that idea. So it might happen much more likely to get trampled as an ant instead of an elephant.
Okay, sure. I just want to know what you are thinking about it. Yeah. Okay. Then I can change my thinking.
It is really us who decides when we, you know, can see or live consciously, or if we deny ourselves from ourselves in many ways, and therefore cut the connections with any living being. So let me tell you honestly, I have a hard time to get a friend in a way of a stone. You know, we can't do
Okay.
that much together. I can carry him along, but you know, we're not going to marry. You know, so it's a different way of where you want to go together, or what does it mean if you are together, or if you can just say, okay, we're just one from the same ship, and you know, I don't care if he's a stone, a tree, or just a part of the sea. We are all part of the same planet, and so when we can find a way to co-create in a truly way of meaning, so we don't need to ride, you know, on dolphins' backs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if they want us to, you know, how do you think that the children wouldn't like that?
Mm-hmm.
So these are, call it fantasies, but there are not fantasies in the dream state. And so in many ways, you know, to bring heaven back on earth
Mm-hmm.
is the way how we see and how we live. So
This,
we will not be allowed to go into space when we keep on doing the human abusive system, you know.
yeah, I think so. Uh, I thought because of the animals, I told you on the ground, I thought it's their soul uh, uh, Seelenauftrag, their soul
Contract.
knows, yeah, contract, that they sometimes become yeah, crushed by a shoe.
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, it says so, everyone has a soul contract, huh? When
Maybe.
and that's the thing I think I'm thinking because of the aunt. It's a few 2 years I'm thinking over such things, huh? And it's really it's new for me. And then I think maybe it's their soul contract that they sometimes were hit by a shoe or by an people, and that's the thing for me. I yeah.
You know, it's not only the animal, but it's the environment that basically, or the environment of the animal,
Mhm.
that helps you basically find yourself again on this map. And everywhere you go, you basically will approach one of many animals, and they all have basically lessons to share, but nobody is listening, you know. And so I would like to open that space, that portal or this door, to let you remember that, you know, we have many more friends, even they don't talk to us, they don't call us, they don't have WhatsApp and you know, email and stuff, but they would already communicate with you if you would just listen.
Sure, that's not the point. I told you that's not the point. It's just the point that I don't want to treat or yeah, treat it bad because they are on the ground and I don't look at it. I really always, I told you, butterflies in my home, months long, full of. I want to show pictures sometime, or grasshoppers or birds. Okay, they don't come inside by me, but I have all the birds from the neighborhood. Normally, I have nothing to do with birds. I don't care about. Since 2 years, I do, and they are all here, and I love it. And the science I understand. I told you, just I don't want to treat them But yeah, you have to walk on the ground, and that's the thing. I have to think about it. What is on the ground? I'm walking along, and some ants under my feet, and grass, and whatever. That's just my thought. And then I told you, for me, I thought it was a soul contract from them. Yeah, sometimes to hit uh, under human, yeah, and under people. And now you told me some other thing, and so can I open my opinion more.
It's all opinion basically that holds us, you know, most likely sooner or later back from what we desire or what we would like to experience. Since we, you know, opinion is something that we also build over the time. But is opinion the same as truth or, you know, true
No,
experience? So
sorry. I my failed the word for I don't mean opinion. I missed the word. It's no opinion. It's just, yeah, it's just my life to treat everything. But thank you. I don't want to hear the only one. Maybe some other want to have questions. Sorry.
okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who has a question? Okay, if not, I would like to start with the first thing to do, or the first question that I have for you. I think we touched it before, and so now I need to see if I can change here. 1 second. So when I asked the last time, how would you,
No, no todo lo traje de Honduras.
how would you basically start from the beginning? How do you see what so many ways is called the beginning? So how would you start? If you have to tell a child or someone else how it all started, you need some either words or some shapes or colors just to try to simplify existence. And so in the beginning you have, if we say we are all part of that one unit or that universe, so we have either a complete unification as black or as white. And then we are actually at that state of one. So we have black, so then the space is empty, or we have space is full. So when we say we we go out from the soul level, it basically means the black circle is already not the soul anymore. Because everything is soul, and so basically this limits, or this is some sort of individual experience. So either it's this, or it must be then in white to contain the black. So do you see, when I want to show you either way, if I want to show you here, this is one, this is also one. I don't show you one because one would be empty. So empty white or empty black. There is nothing going on, everything just is. And it is perfect as it is because it just wants to be white or black. So imagine you choose consciously what color you want to be, just in terms of color speaking. So you either have to start with a white background or a black background. And so you see, in this case here, we have white as a background. I can't show you here one because I show you already the background here and the entity here. So it's already two. But the one can be anything at any time. So it can't be stable, it can't be matter because it would have to be all matters together and no matter at the same time. So the reason why I'm showing you this is just because of these drawings. Where can I get it back? So whenever you see this, or something like that, is this here the consciousness, or is the thing between, or is it all together part of the totality? So when we say, okay, we start with the soul in the beginning, then we have every other of these ring is a mirror, and it reflects back to what shows itself to the mirror, but in 360. It basically can show itself, and yet it displays, because it's a two-way mirror, it goes also through. So basically you can shine through many different layers. So if we have the soul in the middle, what comes next? Do we call it brain? So the brain would be in the black matter state. Then maybe we have the mind as again the reflection of the soul, but in a bigger image. So it can encompass you, it can include you, the mind. And from there we go deeper and deeper into the matter. Is it this way around, or is it the other way around? So basically you have soul at the outside, and you have the emotion, and then you have the matter state. What if we apply the concept of the black hole and everything exists at the same time, at the same place? How could we fit it together and still fit all the requirements basically that we want to see here in one state or another? So it would mean that basically we have a bubble and you are in the middle of the bubble. And this one here would be matter and everything else would be soul. And between the both of them we have the emotion. So I want you to put everything on the head or upside down if you haven't seen through it yet. At least turn it upside down. Put it 90 degrees to the left or 90 degrees to the other left. You need to see how you feel when you basically understand yourself. And all relation to the exterior is not actually part of this reflection because we try just to go inside. So therefore, if we have the center of you, the experiencing entity, so we have the reflection of you, which basically creates you. So the matter is another you in the you. And if you imagine the two hands of you and the empty space here, and then you imagine yourself making a snowball with both of your hands. So now can you literally take your hands into your hands, and now we do rub them a little bit. So take your hands and then you put them together and you rub them till you can feel some heat. Squeeze your hands together. Turn them around. Make them flexible. So now start to put your hands maybe 3, 4, 5 centimeters, 1, 2, 3 inches apart. So feel yourself what's going on between your hands. Use them straight or make them like snowball style, a bit round. So latest now you should have closed your eyes and all your attention on everything that is looking out or in of you is basically now between your hands. You want to feel the experience between your hands, through you and as you. You will find out that this is a familiar feeling. You had it before, but you didn't know that you don't need nothing to do this. Can you feel the left and the right turns? So you can whip a little bit with your hands, like it's not a clapping, so don't touch your hands together. Just hold them close to each other but not touching. Try to squeeze or just to expand the gap. So if you remember when we saw the video when the planet basically is created from the outside, if the planet is created from the outside, imagine to basically give up your hands to create something new between. And so if you have heard that your hands are basically extensions of your brain, and somehow they must be connected to your mind, and they must be very close to your soul. So what do you really hold in your hands now? Is it a snowball? Is it nothing? Zero? So if you have plus and minus, if you have, as many call it, the eternal conflict, heaven against hell and so forth, but if you have just the opportunity or the potential basically to create, and then you, if you want to create something else, you basically have to deconstruct it, as we call it, yeah, let's call it destruction for once. So basically we have to build up and then build it down again, for you again to enjoy or rediscover yourself from a different angle. But the source, the thing that you need to do or to have, is already with you. So therefore, how much are you attached to the shape that you actually are? What if you are as confident as an ant that basically is so small that it can go through a keyhole in a door just because of the size? So if this is you here, then we have the door. So now how can we squeeze you through the door? So if we remind ourselves, and as Kesh is helping us in so many ways, this door is just in a certain way or a certain level of perspective, it's very dense. In relation to you as a human craft, it is very dense because it's out of wood or whatever material. But if we would go very close looking, we would see that the matter is basically, there are everywhere gaps here. So basically to go through the matter state needs us to basically let the matter state behind. So we need to transmute. That's how Keshe calls it. And there is also an animal that stands for transmutation. So I will see to bring a bigger picture to translate the whole compendium of how it basically can be seen or how it can be heard, and you will know if it resonates with you, what I say, what Stefania says, what Mr. Keshe says, what everyone says literally when you are in touch with yourself. So in the moment you basically are an ant, like this, you will be also cleared for departure through the keyhole. And the keyhole is basically the whole door on a very, very small ant way of looking at things. And we know that there are waves, there are radio waves. The longer they go, the harder they are to stop. If you have dense frequency, the irritation with matter will be stronger, more intense. So if you can relax and go with the flow as a particle of the wave, or as just part of this wave, not a matter state of particle, you will just go with ease through the door. But in the moment you worry about yourself, what happens with your head and with your nice haircut from yesterday, the moment you go through the door, it basically you deny yourself. So you need to completely let go of whatever defines you on this side to basically redeploy on the other side. And this trust is basically that we would like to cultivate here on the Monday sessions, if not specifically here. It's not about forcing some limitations or reaching new high grounds. It is just you and your craft, and if you have something to share that basically can bring us closer into space, I think this is the session here on Monday that we can focus on this. So when we go again, for example, just this is the beach, this here is water, so the Sandman experience basically is here to make you lose yourself in the sand. Not physically, but at least emotionally and mentally. Because the soul is everywhere at home. Remember, either it is just white or just black, or it's rainbow colors and it's changing at the blink of an eye all the time. We will look more deep into that as well. So if you don't separate yourself anywhere from what is, it doesn't really matter if here is a door and you're here and you want to go there. Sooner or later you will be there. But as long as you think you need to stay here, you maybe won't never reach that door, because it's not meant for the physical structure of the physicality to go through there. Maybe there's a lesson, a teaching as well in there. So do we really need to clone the best soldiers and, you know, just protect each other, or some from someone else? Or can we find the love within us all and then basically turn the light on so we don't need to make jokes and fools from those who still want to be afraid or still are afraid? This looks much less fear, and this can contain fear. Depends on what you see yourself as part of. Okay, so I would like to thank you all for being part of this first session here. I'm pretty sure, at least for my sake, I can improve in many ways again. So we would like to continue on next Monday. If you have anything related to how you would like to go to space, how you would join us, what you can contribute to the benefit of all, anything that you would like to share from a dream state, I think we have so much to discover or rediscover, and now on a level that basically we will get connected and not just talk of someone else or think of someone else. We basically try to see the eyes through the other you. Become a Mozhan all together and share everything that you know from wherever it comes to the benefit of the peace of humanity. If we can achieve this, we might be welcomed elsewhere too. Okay, thank you everyone for attending today. I think, Andreas, now it's 8:45. Maybe we can stop for today so everyone can go to the Spanish teachings. If I think they are following up in like 15 minutes. And so those who would like to join us again, we will be here again on next Monday from 6 o'clock. Ich danke euch allen für die Teilnahme. Mal sehen, ob wir das dann vielleicht auch mal in Deutsch machen können. Aber ich glaube, so war es doch ganz gut. Und ich freue mich auf nächsten Montag. Und ich werde danach schauen, dass wir dieses Video bei Interesse noch weiter verbreiten können, auch hochladen auf YouTube. Vielleicht danach das nächste Mal einen Stream machen. So, for everyone who wants to re-see this video, we will see to upload it at the proper place, and so we will keep you updated. But next schedule will be next Monday, 6 p.m. So I wish you all a very good evening, and very good night, sweet dreams, and yeah, thank you for being with us here. Mahalo.
Thank you also.
Andreas.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Danke.
Andreas.
Thank you very much, Bless.
Thank you very much.
Vielen Dank, Andreas.
Vielen Dank euch allen. Thank you, everyone.